Gayle King. Funky dog head, bitch.
Not going to be forgiving it all. For instance, Boosie took to his social media and said this.
Gayle King, why the would you do something like that? Why would you do that to your people? You know what people going through, right? Why would you ask a question like that, trying to tarnish somebody's image? You do that to your own black people.
And Snoop Dogg chimed in as well.
Gayle King. Out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that? I swear to God, we the worst. We the fucking worst. We expect more from you, Gayle. Don't you hang out with Oprah? Why y'all attacking us? We your people. You ain't coming after fucking Harvey Weinstein asking them dumb-ass questions. I get sick of y'all. I want to call you one. Is it okay if I call her one? Funky dog head, bitch. How dare you try to tarnish my motherfucking homeboy's reputation, punk motherfucker. Respect the family and back off, bitch, before we come get you.
Hello guys, welcome to my channel, Tetra Resin Stone. If you are as lost as me, it's because you were not playing on the social medias yesterday, honey. Okay, so I did not know what was going on. I literally just hear all this backlash. I missed the clip, the interview that Gayle King had said, and I was like, who are they talking about? And then I realized it's Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace, Kobe. Let me include what Gayle had to say for herself. Take a listen.
Is it even a fair question to talk about it, considering he's no longer with us and that it was resolved? Or is it really part of his history?
I think that the media should be more respectful. At this time, it's like if you had questions about it, you've had many years to ask him that. I don't think it's something that we should keep hanging over his legacy. I mean, it went to trial.
Yeah, well, it was dismissed because the victim in the case refused to testify. So it was dismissed.
And I think that that's how we should leave it.
Now, this was an excerpt that was apparently taken out of context from the interview that she did do, and she will respond later in this video as to her thoughts on the backlash and also to the clip that the network chose to use to advertise this interview. Now, listen, Snoop Dogg, I love you, but calling her a funky dog bitch, that's a little much, and don't come for me. But I really don't think the question was unfair to ask. Now, I understand we respect the passing and the memory and the legacy, and she doesn't say that we should talk about that. What she asks is it fair for the media to talk about that? Let's listen further as to what Gayle King has to say in response to the network's choice of using this particular excerpt.
I know that if I had only seen the clip that you saw, I'd be extremely angry with me too. I am mortified, I'm embarrassed, and very angry. Unbeknownst to me, my network put up a clip from a very wide-ranging interview, totally taken out of context, and when you see it that way, jarring. And yes, we talked about that court case. And I wanted to get Lisa's take on it as a friend who knew him well. It was very powerful when she looked me in the eye as a member of the media to say it's time for the media to leave it alone and to back off.
I agree.
And at the end when she said it's time to leave it alone, I insisted that part be in the interview because I thought that it put a nice button on that part of the conversation. I talked to Lisa last night. I believe that Lisa was okay with the interview, and I felt really good about the interview. So for the network to take the most salacious part when taken out of context and put it up online is very upsetting to me, and that's something I'm going to have to deal with them.
So you can see Gayle King is pissed all the way off, and rightly so. The backlash that she has received, in my opinion, is unfair. I don't think the question that she asked was in bad taste. She asked a person who knew Kobe in his personal life, who was in the same circle, and, was able to confirm that Kobe was always a gentleman and so seemingly, did have, appropriate relationships with people. He didn't come off as the stereotypical, dick slinging, NBA player that sometimes we hear in the media. And so I think it was important, and it does suck that her network decided to use an excerpt of a interview that painted the interview as a way that she was grilling Lisa, or by somehow, because the case was dropped due to the fact the witness decided not to appear in court, that doesn't mean that he is innocent or not. I think that's kind of what people are taking from that.
The former U.S. ambassador to the UN telling the popular rapper to, quote, back the off. Quote, this is despicable. Gayle King is one of the most principled, fair, and tough journalists alive. Snoop, back the off. You come for Gayle King, you come against an army. You will lose, and it won't be pretty.
So you see, Gayle King does have some supporters still. It's not all just backlash. She does have folks coming out to support her. And, this really gets me thinking. I kind of found it, and don't come for me. Please do not come for me. But one of the things that I did make note of was that as the backlash was unfolding, one of the things that they criticized Gayle for was the fact that she's a Black woman bringing up something about a Black man, and that because they're both Black, she should not be, shining a light or doing her job as far as being an investigator to ask questions that some people don't want to hear, some people don't want to know. Some people would prefer to only remember and look at the beautiful, positive legacy that he left behind. And I get that. I really do. But I will say that this kind of, code really does, I don't want to say it bothers me, but I could see it posing a problem. And moving in a pivoting to a different example, one of the things that I've noticed on this platform, specifically in the last year, I'd say, is the criticism for anybody in the LGBTQ community. And that if you aren't a part of the LGBTQ community, you can't speak on things that people are doing. Specifically, Kai Jackson, Onision's husband, being a transgender man, anytime a channel critiques him or, calls in question about some of his actions, they're immediately said that they're transphobic.
Do not identify as a trans person if you are not a part of the trans community. They kind of make it a taboo for you to talk about. I'll give you an example. When I did my Kai video, right? Someone commented, they said that I only did the video to show my transphobia. I talk about them or you're transphobic. No, that's not how the world works. Because if that's the case, every time you talk about me in my comments, that means you're racist, right? No, doesn't work like that.
Now, I went ahead and included that pivot there for you folks just to illustrate a point that just because you belong to a certain group doesn't mean that you're able to not criticize that particular person for their own actions. We are so much more than our race. We are so much more than our sex. We are so much more than our genders. We are so much more than the groups that we subscribe to. And the fact that, MarieMunsterful was drug and had comments that were basically saying, oh, well, she can't talk about this particular person's actions because she's not a trans man, and if she does, therefore she's transphobic. It's very similar in the way that Gayle King, because she's Black, is not able or should not, pose a question that could potentially give a negative light to Kobe Bryant because he is Black. And I think that could be very dangerous when we have this idea that there's this code of silence and that criticism is only for people who are in that particular group. So Snoop Dogg went ahead and mentioned Harvey Weinstein. And so I'm actually going to touch on this one briefly. In fact, many people in Hollywood were aware of Harvey's ways. And it was a running joke that you don't go to a Harvey Weinstein party. And the hundreds of women, the 89 women who came forward to lend their voice, they all finally said enough is enough. And they spoke out. But that was an example as well that people in the same community chose not to speak about Harvey because what? Harvey was a great producer. Harvey's movies won awards. Harvey movies were, renowned in the Academy and within that particular group. I also want to clarify, by no means am I comparing the Black community with the LGBT community or the Black community with the Hollywood elite community. I'm simply pointing out an example and using those two communities to illustrate that just because you belong to a specific group does not mean that there has to be a vow of silence and a code of silence if someone does something wrong. Another disclaimer, I'm not saying Kobe did anything wrong when she says that she didn't say Kobe did anything wrong. In fact, what she said was, as a member of the media, do you think it's fair that we talk about Kobe and the things that he has been accused of in his past, or should the media let it go? And Lisa said, the media needs to let that one rest because he is innocent and went to court. It had its time. You had your time to talk about it. You had your time to address it when he was here. It's done. It's put to rest. So I do want to leave on that note. And I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please let me know what your thoughts and opinions are on this whole particular case. How do you feel about the community coming out and calling Gayle all kinds of names and really dragging her? What are your thoughts on Snoop Dogg calling her a funky, dog-headed bitch? And do you think he was wrong for that? Sound off in the comments below. Go ahead and hit a like and subscribe on your way out. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye-bye.